Now tell us about your podcast.
Oh yeah, with Conversing Clergy.
Yes.
Yeah, so Conversing Clergy started, believe it or not, it started back in 2008. And it was with me, Father Michael Earthman, and also Father Jeff Reed, who's no longer a priest, but he's now happily married in the church. What happened was we were sitting down at some place, just having a couple glasses of scotch, and we had these conversations that, I don't know, it was just fascinating that when people would hear us have these different conversations, they would be so interested in listening in and asking more, and so we said, what if we did like a podcast? And so in that time, it was literally an iPod, and
yes.
You would cast it through the iPod, right? So we went to the chancery where they have a radio station downstairs, and recorded our conversation. And I think we were talking about immigration because that was coming up for some reason, and I don't remember all the details. Unfortunately, things didn't go right in terms of the electronics, or something didn't go right. So the sound was completely off, and so we couldn't use it. And then that was it. That was it for a while. So then I created a blog called Conversing Clergy.
Okay.
And then I invited, again, some of the priests to contribute to writing a blog, but we're so busy, so they didn't bother doing it. So I was just blogging. So I have like 170 blog entries on that one, just different reflections.
Okay.
On different topics. And so there was that, and then I created a Facebook page and then a fan page, and so I have about 4,000 followers on that, and just people over time they just join in, and so I would post the blog entry or the link on Facebook. So, and that was Conversing Clergy, and I would invite people to make comments. And there was one time I did get a great conversation going. It was about Stephen Hawking, when he said that there is no need for there to be a God. Right.
Okay.
And so I said, the title was Stephen Hawking said there's no need for God. I agree. And that was clickbait for sure. And of course, the argument was the God that he's talking about, that we don't believe in.
Okay.
The God that he's talking, which is the atheist God. The atheist God, we don't believe in the atheist God. We believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Joseph, right?
Okay.
They're talking about God of the gaps who explains natural phenomena. So anyway, so there was one guy who was just getting into it. And it was great. It was a great conversation. So anyway, so that was Conversing Clergy, the blog. And then what happened was when I got to St. Bartholomew, got here to St. Bartholomew, I just started doing videos. I don't know what inspired me to do it, but I had my phone, put it in front of my face, and I just started talking about, different things. And then it evolved into what we call, and at that time I didn't call that Conversing Clergy, but what happened was I decided it would be great if we can just get the brother priests together, and we did these pre-recorded Conversing Clergies.
Yes.
With we had multiple cameras, et cetera, et cetera. So again, talking about different topics, and people they seem to really love them, and they would watch them. And then we did another series called Priests. We've done 3 of those, and that's a spoof off of Cops. And so it would show us driving around, and we would talk to each other about different things, and that was just complete nonsensical banter, And maybe we would talk about some serious things about what we're doing, So there was that.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Priests, like just a camera following a couple of priests around.
That's exactly what we did. Yeah. And so that was a lot of fun. That actually, the third priest episode, I think we hit almost 2,000 views on that one for the third one. That was with Christopher Meyer and Father Ricardo, and we were on our way to a staff retreat over at Our Lady of Walsingham. So, and for us, for our channel, having almost 2,000 views is pretty big. So we did that, and then we said, and then at some point, and as I said earlier, we just did that random live feed with Facebook, and then we said this was really helpful. People were making comments, they were reaching out.
Yes. And
so then we decided to develop it more, and then I had that table with the laptop and maybe we got a couple of better mics, and then when COVID hit. It was interesting because at that time, right before COVID hit, I already had so much set up already. I watched YouTube videos about how to use the broadcasting software.
Yes.
How to use Adobe Premiere Pro, how to arrange a camera, what kind of camera would be good for it. All these different things on how to do it, and buying the equipment. I even sound treated the room, et cetera. And all of this was being done just in time for COVID to hit. And at that, it was just what we needed. It's just what the parishioners needed.
You were prepared for it.
We were prepared for it because a lot of that stuff, because all the stores were closed, we would not have had access to any of that equipment because that stuff just wasn't being sold. But we had it. We had the lights. We had everything in place.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff is on back order until now.
Exactly right.
It's still on back order.
A lot of stuff is on back order. So the charism of Conversing Clergy that because at first we were kind of just doing it, just having conversations, and they were thinking, we probably should have some substance when we have our conversations. Because at first it was just us talking and people, what questions do you have? Okay, let's talk about that. So we said we have to have something to talk about. It's not enough to banter. And then we came to the conclusion, and I had created kind of a vision statement for what Conversing Clergy is about. And so what I say is that Conversing Clergy is about conversations between the clergy and the laity, so that we engage in conversation with Jesus himself, so that our hearts will burn within us, just like the disciples did on their way to Emmaus. So that's kind of the charism of it. And another way to describe it is, imagine that we are at your house, or that you're over here at the rectory. What kind of conversations would you like to have with us?
Yes. Yes.
So that's the movement. That's the spirit of Conversing Clergy. And I let the people know you're part of the conversation. So we're going to read your chats. We're going to look at your questions. Now, we can't do every single one now. We used to be able to do that, but now we get too many.
They move so quickly.
And it's like, oh, I can't keep up, And I don't see that out there. I see a lot of the stuff that priests do is mostly pre-recorded, and that's not a criticism, by the way. I guess what I'm saying is I think we're filling a niche, first and foremost for our parish. So we are directed in a partnership with our parish, but also if people want to engage in that conversation, because I think that there's a couple of things that we're doing that are very special. Number one is that we do have priests coming together and just having conversation about whatever the topic may be.
Yes. We
bring in guests, sometimes laity. Like last night or a couple of nights ago, we had our youth coordinator come in, and it was like a youth night. So that was a lot of fun. So there's one. That's one thing. And the other thing is that we are providing a way for people to interact with us live.
Yes.
Which carries with it some risk. We have to be careful about what people say on the live stream.
Oh, yes.
And that's why some priests are hesitant about coming on, because they are concerned about that. But we have moderators, and I think the risk is worth it. And really, any person, anytime you have anything live, or if you have a conference where there's 300 people, anybody can say something crazy. So that's how I see it.
Town hall meeting or something. Somebody can walk in and just yell something.
I mean, so that's always a risk anyway. So anyway, that's the charism, and another aspect of it is for us to have fun. It's really meant to be fun. It's meant to be light. We don't get too heavy on things. If we do have a heavy topic, I'll probably move it to another evening where we'll say, okay, this is going to be more of a lecture style.
Yes.
But that Wednesday night, it's to have fun, have conversation, learn a few things.
It's very relaxed.
It's meant to be very relaxed, and literally, we don't prepare a whole lot for those evenings in order to keep it relaxed, because we were doing something where each one was doing a presentation.
Yeah.
And I said, no, it's really meant to be conversational, because again, how often do people get to see priests interact in a conversational style where we're literally talking to each other as we would at the rectory dinner table, pretty much. In fact,
you don't know where the conversation's going to lead.
Don't know.
Yeah,
and we also disagree sometimes, or we'll say, I don't agree with you, Father Ricardo, or Father Ricardo say, I don't agree with you, or, let's look it up, and I'll end up being wrong usually. And I was like, okay, well, we learned something new. And I think people really appreciate that. And of course we have our meme time. So people love meme time.
Meme time.
We show our Catholic memes, and the fun one about that, you never know how people are going to react, but we try to stay away from the controversial stuff. But sometimes people are like, no, I don't like that one. It's like, but people really love that part of it.
One great thing about your podcast is you said earlier, as a priest, you're supposed to go into somebody's home.
Exactly right.
And that's exactly what you're doing. You're doing it dozens of people at a time.
Exactly.
Entering their homes through the podcast, conversing with them.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it was a concern. Part of it was a concern about availability. We can't get out to all the parishioners' homes, and some parishioners can't, bring people in anyway. Some are They have problems with handicap, sickness, whatever it might be. And of course, during the coronavirus, definitely, we just couldn't be in contact with each other.